An ex-WWE star blames Backstage weird Grudge for his release. Plus, the reason for a scrapped NXT gimmick, we've got that. And scrapped NXT SmackDown call-up plans have also been revealed. It's all in the wrestling news right now. So over the weekend, we had a series of WWE releases. They came out of nowhere.
They really did, Tom. What's that doing there? Who is that? Why is that there?
Why not?
I don't know. But there were sudden releases, and we caught them all, well, some of them live on the Cultaholic Wrestling podcast for the first time ever, so you can see our live reactions to them on that said podcast.
It was the closest that we ever came to breaking the podcast curse, I think.
Yes, and then Matt Riddle happened on Friday night.
We wouldn't let it lie, would they? They wouldn't let it lie. One star who has been released, actually numerous stars who've been released have already spoken out about it. We saw that series of Twitch streams from Maximum Male Models.
Really good stories.
Great stories coming out of that. We'll touch on that in a bit. But let's talk Rick Boogs. He shared a life update video on YouTube. And at the beginning, he talked about how his termination from WWE was due to a political power play. He said, "I won't go into it now," and then he went into it now in the comment section down below.
He said, I can say with 100% certainty, the removal of Vince McMahon killed my career. Boogs then later replied to one user that aside from my time with Vince, the character wasn't even given a chance, saying that fans didn't realize all the bull poo he had to put up with during his time with the WWE. He said one person behind the scenes had a weird grudge against him, and he'll tell more about that person soon.
I think we do forget, because obviously we know that Vince has certain guys that he likes, and Paul Levesque has certain guys that he likes.
Are we jumping to Paul straight away?
I think we'll go straight into Paul. Why not? It's
Could
a Monday
it be
morning.
Terry Taylor? Molly Holly?
I mean, the reason I say those two is because with both of them, they have their own sort of teams around them. So Vince will have like a team of people that will be with him, and Trips will have a team with him around him that will kind of echo their ideologies. Now, I'm not saying, that the person in question was definitely Triple H, but I think it was somebody from Triple H's not entourage, because that suggests they're not, but like his team, his team wasn't there. And I think we always assume that there's been times like this where we've seen guys who are surefire hits and like sort of big wrestling stars let go in favor of people that Vince prefers. And we're seeing sort of the opposite in this spout of releases.
Yeah, I can't see why middle-aged rocker Triple H would not be on board with Rick Boogs' pretty average guitar playing.
I think that seems obvious.
I reckon every time Rick Boogs was strumming that guitar, Triple H was going, well, this is not like your man from Metallica.
This is not like your man from Metallica.
Exactly.
I hope that is his exact quote from it. So he said he'll probably comment more on it, and he has done a little bit, but I expect another video from Rick Boogs probably by the end of the week where he'll talk more about his release and his situation behind the scenes there.
Yeah, in all fairness to him, when he says the character was never given a chance after Vince McMahon left, he's absolutely spot on, because all we saw from him on Raw is him come back with this, without Shinsuke Nakamura, without the guitar, without Pat McAfee on commentary, also making him look like the biggest star in the world of professional wrestling, rocking out to his average guitar playing. I've just read this in the comments, Tom. I don't actually know if it is average guitar playing or not. I'm just taking the comments and passing them off as my own opinion. But he turned up on Raw and he's just saying, I'm boogsing out and doing this like he's just had a big line of coke. That's all his character was, which of course worked in the 80s, but we're now in 2023.
It was a throwback gimmick, is what we would say for it. And I think it shows as well how important it is to have all the wheels moving in the right direction when it comes to certain characters. Like Rick Boogs had obviously support from Vince McMahon. He had Pat McAfee on commentary shining him up. He was working with Shinsuke Nakamura. He was put in a well-positioned place. And suddenly when one of those wheels stops working, you drive off the track.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what happened with Rick Boogs. I don't think we see the end of him. I think there's more to be. I remember when he was coming in and how buzzing we all were about him coming in, because he was this charismatic force of nature, and I don't think we've seen the last of him.
Yeah,
no way, no how.
He did some fantastic work on social media before he even got to NXT TV, which is where I became aware of him just doing weird things in car parks and stuff. That sounded more... you know what I mean?
I saw that last night and the police turned up. It's very exciting.
Tom knows the dogging spots around Newcastle. But yeah, he's a very
Not all of
charismatic
them.
man. It makes you wonder, though, what would have happened if he didn't get injured at WrestleMania 38? That's the big one as well.
What the story would have been there. So numerous stars have spoke about their releases. Elisa Leon, who was released from the NXT system, took to Twitter and said, I thank WWE and NXT Universe for honoring me with the opportunity to be the first Mexican woman under contract as a wrestler. I learned what I never imagined. I enjoyed like never before, and I will stay with the great experiences and incredible friendships, but for personal reasons. I took the decision to ask to be released from my contract. I will let you know the reasons at a later time, and I am deeply grateful for the facilities and for leaving the doors open for me. I'm still focused on my next projects. Expect to hear from me very soon.
I know the reason, Tom. I know the reason. It's all down to Sanga, everybody. Fans of NXT will know that Sanga promised Elisa Leon and Valentina Ferros a fantastic spiritual experience and then never delivered that experience. And they're still waiting for it, so no wonder Elisa has asked for her release.
So she's off to go and find a spiritual experience of her own.
Or just sue Sanga. Hashtag Sue Sanga.
Hashtag Sue Sanga. See you in court, pal. But yeah, that's an interesting one because in all of the releases and stuff that came out, Elisa Leon actually there saying that it was her decision to go.
Yeah.
In amongst all of that. And I guess we will wait and see what her next move is.
Yeah.
Intrigued to see what happens next with that one.
Yeah, because we didn't see too much of her on NXT TV. Obviously in the tag team with Valentina Ferros to get the pronunciation right there, Ross. No offending and all that sort of stuff. But yeah, the barely scraped the surface with her, so I don't really know what to make of her asking for a release and what she could be capable of. She could be capable of anything. She could fly to the moon.
Possibilities if she flaps her hands hard enough. Now, NXT star appearing on Raw tonight. You will be not shocked to hear that Tiffany Stratton is going to be on Raw tonight, eyeing up Becky Lynch ahead of their showdown at NXT No Mercy.
Yeah, a card that has been subject to change after last week's releases. Obviously, Mustafa Ali was in line to face Dominic Mysterio for the North American title. So now, obviously, Tiffy Stratton going after the women's title that she lost to Becky Lynch just over a week ago on NXT. So yeah, what are they going to do, Tom?
Well, I think we'll see Tiff Strats probably get involved in Becky Lynch's match and cost her a non-title match. Ooh. Maybe against Natalia again.
Hey, I'm on board with her. Natalia. Natalia. The Natalia train is pulling out the station, everybody.
Natalia Nissan.
You hypocritical ginger witch or whatever she called her.
That's what she called it, isn't she? Tiff was speaking to Steve Fall for Wrestling News. And remember when she came into NXT and she was Daddy's little rich girl? Nice. And then it just stopped like that beautiful music did. What happened, Ross?
Well, basically, she said in the beginning I was kind of Daddy's little rich girl. She had the credit cards and whatnot. She was spending money. She was down at the tennis courts and all that sort of stuff. What the rich people do, I imagine. I was kind of just like, I want to get on TV. And, this was kind of like new and different, I guess. So I pitched it. It stuck. It works for a little bit until they're like, we don't have a daddy for you. So you're not Daddy's little rich girl anymore.
There's seriously no daddies on NXT.
I would disagree wholeheartedly.
Christian Cage would love it.
Hank and Tank.
Oh, they're daddies, aren't they?
Well, you got to get your daddies right. You can either have your daddy, your biological sense, or your daddy.
You could have two daddies.
Yeah. The daddy who gave birth or helped you give birth to you, and the daddy who pays for your tennis club lessons.
Tiff Strat's double daddies. We never saw it, sadly. We did, however, back in 1998, see one of the worst WCW shows ever. Fall Brawl 1998. Fraser Porter, on a brand new episode of Worst Shows Ever, dissects this show with great detail. I'm really enjoying Fraser's Worst Shows Ever. They're great fun.
I think Big J Dog's on the script, isn't he, from over in the Americas, helping them along with the... Well, I don't know what helps them along with. Just J-Dog's a big encyclopedia. Justin Henry. I don't know why I keep calling him J-Dog.
I've never called Justin Henry from Off of America J-Dog before. But congratulations, your name is now J-Dog.
Up the J-Dog.
Up the J-Dog.
He's an encyclopedia, that man.
Plus 10 famous match stipulations never used in WWE. They've never had an exploding barbed wire death match in WWE. They nearly did, if memory serves. I seem to recall that Undertaker and Kane at one point was going to be like a barbed wire death match or something of that ilk. Wow. I seem to recall that was going to be a thing.
Wow.
And then they said they went with the Inferno match.
The build would have been fantastic. The match would have let us down.
It would have absolutely let us. I might be wrong. There'll be more details on that in the YouTube video. Plus, on the podcast feed this week, Desert Island Graps with Marseille from Maximum Male Models.
Je ne sais quoi. Va-va-voom. What stories can you get out of him that he hasn't already told on Twitch?
Well, this is the thing. He will share the 3 wrestling matches that he would watch while stranded on a desert island with us, Will Marseille. But he has, along with Mansoir, do we call him Marseille and Mansoir now? Marseille and Mansoir, or do we call them Mace and Mansour again?
I'd love to keep the MMM spirit alive, Tom, to be honest with you.
Let's keep it going. They're on Twitch over the weekend talking about their time in WWE, as they have been doing, and they shared a little story about the creation of Maxine Dupree.
Yep, the role of Maxine Dupree was created before a wrestler was cast in the role of Maxine Dupree. They said they were following instructions. The Maxine Dupree Twitter account, which they thought was going to be LA Knight initially in a dress. That is unbelievable. Their mind would even go there.
Even LA Knight thought it might have been him in a dress.
To be fair, if you go back to when Vince McMahon was in charge and MMM were on the air, and once again Pat McAfee was making their little segments absolutely fantastic. LA Knight in a dress, or Max Dupree as he was called back then, wasn't that, it wasn't that far away.
Wasn't out of the realms of possibility, was it?
I'm just thinking about him in a dress now.
You do that,
Daddy.
They revealed, obviously, as you said, that the concept was created before a person was put in place. And Mansour revealed the role of Maxine Dupree nearly went to Tiffany Stratton. She's the topic of the day today. Tiff Strats was that close to being Maxine Dupree, but the last minute it was changed and it was played by NXT star Sophia Cromwell.
Ooh, Oliver's sister.
Oliver's brother!
I'm not awake yet.
Oliver's army is here to stay. Yes, Sophia Cromwell, who then became, with a day's notice, Maxine Dupree on the main roster.
And fair play at a day's notice to crack that one out, eh?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And look how she's flying with it now. Like, I love how Maxine Dupree has absolutely thrown herself into her current role as part of Alpha Academy.
Yeah.
Just superstar.
Going from MMM to, this wrestler in training with Chad Gable. When she hits a suplex and the crowd goes wild, you can tell it's working. If Tiffy Stratton was in that role and she whapped out that best moonsault ever, or whatever it's called, I forget its actual
Prettiest
name.
Prettiest
moonsault ever, I do beg my pudding. Imagine if she whapped that out after a couple of lessons with Chad Gable. The roof would have been off the place.
Oh, the roof would have been well and truly raised. We'll have more wrestling news for you throughout the day at cultaholic.com. Stay safe. Love you. Bye.
I don't know why I made a noise there, Tom. Hey, this wrestling news, eh?
What are we
Never
like?
bloody stops, does
What
it?
are we like, eh?